Okay, so we're going to talk tonight. What this webinar is all about is really getting you to understand what a day of coordinator is. A lot of you have been interested in the program, and we have a training course, of course. So we're going to talk about our training course and how our training course differs from other people's training courses, and what a day in the life of a wedding coordinator looks like, and if it could fit your lifestyle, and if it seems like something you want to do. I have a passion for the wedding industry, and because of that, I want to make sure that this is going to be a good fit for you, because it's so important that you don't just jump into a career. We've seen it all over the place where people maybe have a marketing degree, or they went into have a business degree, and then now they have this degree and this huge debt, and then they either can't find a job in their industry, or they find out they don't like it. And so I want to make sure that's what this webinar is about tonight, is making sure that this is a good fit for you before you jump in and get the training or start your career or whatever it is. And then we're going to talk about our program and if that's a good fit for you. So I want to start out by explaining to you what a day of wedding coordinator is. I want to explain it to you fully, because really honestly, most people out there, I'm going to say 99% of the population, really don't know what a wedding planner is or what a wedding coordinator is, what's the difference, if there's a difference. And I think most people just know, A, that a wedding coordinator is expensive, and B, you probably don't need one unless you're rich, because you can do it yourself. This is what we hear most often. And the reason that we hear that is people really don't know what a wedding coordinator does, because when you see a wedding coordinator at a wedding, usually, really honestly, you see them standing around, and you're thinking, what do they do anyway? I don't need to spend that kind of money on somebody that's just going to be standing there doing what I do anyway. So that really isn't accurate. Of course, most of what wedding planners do is, for a whole year we do all of the work, and then normally you're standing there because you're watching and organizing and orchestrating and supervising all of this work that you've put in to make sure that it's happening the way that it should be. So that's why everybody thinks a wedding planner costs a lot of money and they really don't do anything. So what I want to explain to you, though, is the difference between a day of wedding coordinator and a full service wedding planner or wedding coordinator. So a full service wedding coordinator or wedding planner, you can interchange those two. They take care of everything from helping find the venue, helping with invitations, helping with decor, floor plans and layouts, and choosing flowers, going to tastings, choosing the caterer, special etiquette that they would need to be aware of. So they really have their fingers in everything. Now, on the flip side, a day of coordinator actually just typically is there that day. So the bride and the groom, or bride and groom, the couple, they plan the entire wedding, but they just want somebody there maybe to put out the party favors or run the timeline. So they're normally just there they could be there anywhere from 4 hours to 10 hours. And it's kind of flexible, whatever the couple decides that they want that day. And they really don't do a lot of work as far as set up and tear down. They shouldn't. There are some that probably offer that additional service, but that's not what a day of wedding coordinator, what their job is supposed to be. It's really just to make sure that whatever it is that the couple has planned, that it's going to go as well as possible. But the day of wedding coordinator really isn't responsible for anything. So for example, if the bride and groom wrote the timeline, it's not the day of coordinator's job to fix the timeline if something goes wrong. It's only their job to execute what the bride and groom have hoped for. So if they didn't order enough food, or ordered too much food, or maybe they didn't choose a great photographer, none of that is a day of wedding coordinator's responsibility. So I think really, honestly, being a day of coordinator is one of the best jobs you can have for the pay and for the amount of time that you put in. So I want to talk a little bit about how much they get paid and what kind of time investment you could expect to have if you were going to be a day of coordinator. So a day of coordinator typically, honestly, works maybe 8 hours. That's the package. And of course, as a day of coordinator, you can have any package you want. So you could have a package that's 5 hours. You could charge by the hour. You can charge once you hit overtime. So normally they're there maybe about 8 hours. And the average wedding coordinator makes $1,500 for that day. I know quite a few that make $2,200 for 8 hours. Now, you have to, of course, take into account, sure, you might meet the clients maybe once or twice before the actual wedding because you're going to want to get some of the details and information. So I'm not really counting that because that may be, let's say you meet them for an additional 2 hours and then you work another 6 or 8 hours on the wedding day. So now you really are working 8 to 10 hours for that $1,500. And it really is just for that day. You don't do any follow-up or anything else. If you wanted to add later on in your package, you could add rehearsal service. Most people don't need that because if they're getting married at a church, typically they have a wedding coordinator at the church that does that. A lot of venues have a venue coordinator that can help with that. So anyway, it's a lot of money to make for a very short amount of time, which is an awesome job. Who doesn't want that, right? Plus, you're helping people who are getting married, and it's a celebration, and you know, you have all these people that are excited and happy, and oh my gosh, you know, you're at this party. So if you're the type of person that likes that party atmosphere and there's people mingling and everybody's having a good time and you're getting paid to babysit the wedding, you know, so it really is a amazing opportunity for a lot of people. So what I want to kind of share, what does that look like? How could that fit into your schedule? So you could be going to school, you could have a full-time job, you could be a stay-at-home parent, and you really can set your own hours. When I was raising my family as a wedding planner, I would set on the calendar that there's certain days I just didn't take weddings. I never took them on my kids' birthdays. I didn't take them on holidays. If I knew that we were going to go on a family vacation during a certain time, I didn't take weddings then. I didn't take them on my birthdays. You know, you can decide to take them or not take them whenever you want, which is the great thing about this type of business. So let's just say you decided to work maybe some months heavier than others. So you could do a wedding on a Thursday, a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday. So that's 4 weddings. And if you charge $1,500 a wedding, you're making $6,000 a week. And if you wanted to do that heavy for, let's say, 4 or 5 months or whatever, and then take off a couple months, or maybe you're the type of person that doesn't like to work outside when it's hot, so then you don't take weddings in July and August. So this business is so flexible, which is why it's so great. And it's a minimum amount of risk for you as a day of coordinator. As a full service coordinator, everything kind of rests on your shoulders. If the DJ isn't doing his job right, you need to go over there and work it out. Or if the caterer didn't bring enough food, you have to tell the caterer they have to go get more food or whatever. You are kind of responsible to fix everything. But as a day of coordinator, you're really not responsible to fix anything because you're not the one who helped set that stuff up in the first place. So you're really just there to babysit. So again, if you were to do that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or if you only want to do it Saturday, or even let's say you have a full-time job and you just want to supplement your income and maybe you just want to do 1 a month, or maybe you have the type of job where you have a couple months off during the year and you just want to work it heavy then. I mean, it's just such a great opportunity, like I'm saying, with so much flexibility. So another thing that I want to share with you is what makes our program different. So we have a certification program, And you can be certified to be a day of coordinator in as little as 12 weeks. So what makes our program different is a couple things. One is there's a few programs out there, but the only ones that we know of are people that write programs for a living. And I want to show you an example of a very popular program. I'm going to make sure that I'm covering up the name. So this is a program that we know of that somebody purchased for $1,000. Okay, so each one of these books, let me show you, like, good. Okay, so we have the name covered up. So this is a book that you get. There is no video. There's nobody to ask questions to. You have these 1970s black and white photos. And you really don't get to have any feedback. And you get this big stack of books, and then at the end, you're going to take a test. And it's $1,000 to get these black and white prints. So our program is the only one that we know of that's a day of certification course that's written by an actual wedding planner. That's me. So I have used the last 30 years of experience, thousands of weddings, to put together this program and make it as simple as possible. And what we do is every week you're going to get your video. So you're going to learn from me through video. So I'm going to teach you. Plus you're going to have downloadable materials and homework, and it's all customizable for you to develop your business the way that you want to develop it. So it's not a blanket, this is the way that everybody has to do it. I'm going to show you how you can do it so that it fits your lifestyle and your needs and your desires, how you want to run your business. And we address all of the things that you're going to need to know to run your business successfully. So I'm going to teach you some things. For example, what do you do if you have a bridezilla? What is your responsibility? How do you diffuse that situation? And how do you work with vendors? What do you do if you're dealing with a vendor that maybe isn't so nice or that's hard to get a hold of? And I'm going to walk you through every scenario that you could encounter and how you can work through that. I'm going to help you with some marketing tips and networking and what your responsibility is. And I'm going to literally walk you through each phase of what you will do in your new business. So I'm going to tell you, okay, when you meet with your first client, here's what you need to communicate to them. I'm going to talk to you about here's how you lay out packages and how you present that to your clients and how you communicate with them. What if they want to make changes? What if they want to make additions? And I'm going to walk you through all of that. Then I'm going to walk you through what if you decide that you want to do rehearsals. So if you want to do the rehearsal, then I'm going to tell you, okay, then here's extra, you should add that onto your package and it's going to cost this additional amount. And then I'm going to walk you through how you run a rehearsal. And then I'm going to walk you through the actual wedding day. What supplies do you need to bring just in case there's a problem? And then how does that wedding day look? How do you run a timeline? How do you talk to the vendors that are going to be there that day? How do you deal with the family members? How do you deal with the guests? And then what do you do to follow up? So I literally walk you through every phase of your business. So you're not going to have questions about how do I do this? Because I'm going to tell you all the information that you need to know. At the end of the program, you're going to become certified. And once you're certified, now you can display your certification and tell people that you've been through this program. The great thing about going through this program, well, there's a lot of great things, but one of the great things about it is there are very few, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know of any certification programs specific to day of wedding coordination. Most of them are for full service event planners, and those courses can take anywhere from a year to 4 years. And some of them, if you go to a university, you're going to end up spending on average $45,000 for your certification that you can't even use for 4 years. This is going to help you jumpstart and get your career started in as little as 3 months. I mean, you can start your career right now and then start to get business and work through the process as we're doing it, and literally start doing weddings in as little as 3 months. So the program is super awesome. I think it could fit everybody. But here's the caveat. I don't want to sell it to everybody. I don't want you to join this program just because you can join it. I want you to understand something that is pretty important to me. And that is, this is somebody's, the biggest day of their life for a lot of people. They take it really serious. This should not be something that you want to get into just for quick cash without having some sincerity behind it. You really are going to be, you could ruin somebody's wedding day. And that's pretty serious. That's something that you can't take lightly. So this program, I would love it if you only considered doing it if you really thought that you would do the best job you can possibly do for someone on their wedding day. And again, it's not like it's not rocket science. It's not really a super difficult job. It's just that you have to be kind and patient with people, because sometimes, you know, on a wedding day, emotions can run high, and sometimes people can say things they don't mean, or they can just be full of anxiety. And if you're not the type of person that could bring a calming effect to someone, then it's probably not the career for you. But it is a great career for so many people. So if you have a heart to help people, and you care about people, and you want to help celebrate the day, and get paid really well for it, then, I mean, this could be a perfect fit for you. We do want to open it up a little bit for questions, because I know I've said a lot so far, and I want to make sure that I can get everybody's questions answered. So if you have some questions, we have a chat function on the side. I know that it's working because I have quite a few of you that have said hi, so hi back. So type in your questions that I can answer for you, so that I can make sure that I cover this material as thorough as possible. And feel free to ask any questions you want. I will add some more information in there in between the questions, so feel free to type out as long or short questions as you want. I'm going to give you guys just a second, because I see a lot of people typing, so I'm going to give you just a second. So one question, so what do I do once I'm done with the program? Well, there's a couple things that you can do. Once you're certified, that doesn't mean we're done with you and okay, see you, good luck. We do have a membership program that you'll be invited to after you're certified. This membership program, there will be a monthly fee, and we have 911 tips. That's okay, so you have an emergency situation, here's what you do. And those are audios. We have ebooks we have filled with marketing tips and how to have success at a bridal show, and how do you improve your customer service, what if you want to increase your services. So a lot of people start out with, let's say, day of coordination, but they want to add some decor to it, or they want to add invitation service, or maybe they do desserts. So you can add extra services to that, and we talk about that after in the membership program, how you can do those kinds of things. We do still have seminars, workshops, things to continue to help you build your business. And when you stay in our membership program and you continue to build yourself, we help you with some marketing tools. So if you're not familiar with Wedding State University is a all-inclusive resource for everyone that has anything to do with weddings. So it's couples getting married, it's wedding planners, it's vendors, and it's venues, and it's a resource to help everyone kind of come together as a community and be able to find each other differently than you would maybe on another advertising site. So to be a recommended vendor or coordinator, you do have to go through our programs, and you have to agree to abide by all of our ethical standards. So all of our brides and grooms that are planning their wedding have access to those who are certified and continue on with their services. So we're finding that it's a lot easier for them to get business, because the people who go, the couples that go through our WSU program, and the way that that program works is I'm actually helping them plan their wedding step by step. So they've already understood maybe the ethical practices that we hold people accountable to. And so when they need a day of wedding coordinator or a vendor, when they're certified through WSU, they tend to rely on them a little bit more and trust them more, which they should, because they've agreed to ethical standards. So anyway, so after you're certified, we're not just saying, okay, good luck with everything. You can continue on to get business support. Okay, so I have another question. So when can we be a member of the DOC program? What materials do during the 12 weeks? Okay, so when can you become a member? You can actually start your certification course today if you wanted to hop on, and then you can become a member as soon as you're certified. So you're certified at a minimum right after that 12 weeks. So the reason I'm saying minimum is because let's just say you do it for 6 weeks and now something comes up and you have to take a break. There is 12 weeks worth of material. So you have to get through the 12 weeks of material. Then you're certified. Once you're certified, then you're invited to become a member. So as little as 12 weeks, you could be a member and then do the membership program. What materials do during the 12 weeks? So the way that course actually works is every week you are released a new set of material. So it's a one class every week. And in that class is 3 different videos. The average video is probably 5 to 8 minutes. I think there's a couple that are 14 minutes maybe. So you'll have on average 30 minutes of instructional video from me, and that's broken down into 3 videos, like I said. And then on the side, so you'll watch the video, and then on the side will be your downloadable homework. So you download your homework, and this homework you don't turn into us. So it's more like, I'll give you an example. One of the first courses is vision casting, and the vision casting is, where do you see yourself headed with this career? And I also talked to you in the course about, you know, you might see yourself right now just doing it temporarily, but you can also change it later. Or you can say, hey, I think I want to dive into this full time, and change later, and maybe you just want to be part-time. So that's why you don't turn that homework into us. It's all about you building the business for you. And so you'll watch the videos, you'll do your homework, and then normally about once a month we have a live webinar. So the live webinar, you can ask questions. At the end of the course, then you will get your certification. So if this is what materials are due during the 12 weeks, you don't ever turn in any homework to us. But of course you can ask questions if you're not sure. Any other questions? One question, can you do it sooner than 12 weeks? You really can't, because I don't want to rush this program. I want you to take your time and do it right. Physically, it is possible. If you had all the materials, you could do it all really quickly. But I really want you to think about your answers seriously and your homework, and I really want you to put a lot of effort into this. So I don't want you to rush through and just go to the next week just because you can. Are there recorded? Oh, so there should be, there's actually additional materials, support materials that will be released throughout the 12 weeks. So in that time, you're getting marketing support, and we do have a lot of recorded webinars. So we've been doing webinars and seminars and workshops for years, and so we have all of those recorded, so you'll have access to those also. So then you can see questions that other people have asked in the past, and you'll get answers to those. So if you're not able to join our live webinars, then they will be available also for you to watch at your own free time. Do I do day of wedding coordination? So interesting question. I don't do day of wedding coordination. That is the only service I don't do. I'm a full service planner. We've done celebrity weddings, destination weddings. We also do all events. So we do birthday parties, bridal showers, corporate events, fundraisers. We do all types of events. The reason I don't do day of coordination, I'll be really honest with you. I think we're the only wedding planner or event planner that I know that doesn't do day of coordination. There's obvious reasons why you would do it. It's great money for a very short amount of time. The reason I don't do it is I'm a control freak. So I couldn't sit and watch somebody when I have the information and say, oh my gosh, they should have got this caterer, or they should have had this photographer, or whatever. So it's a great job for a lot of people, just not for me. Okay, could you give me an example of what a typical week looks like in the course? Is there a test at the end of the course? There is a test at the end of the course. The test, I will tell you, is mostly designed to make sure that you've read the material, which is super easy to read. So a typical week in the course is you're released the videos or the whole set of homework once a week. And the videos, again, you get 3 videos per week, and each video is like 5 minutes, 5 or 8 minutes. So you watch that video, and I'm giving you instruction. I'm basically telling you, and there is a syllabus. So we have a syllabus, and it's all broken out. So I'll give you an example. The week that we talk about, it's called Meet the Zillas. Okay, so the Zillas are Bridezilla, Guestzilla, and Bridal Party Zilla. So the first video, I'm talking about Bridezilla. Okay, here's what happens, why a Bridezilla comes to be. Maybe she was sweet the whole time, and now all of a sudden on her wedding day, she's upset. So I explained to you, why might she be upset? What has happened that she could be upset, and how should you address it? And then, so that's a really short, whatever, maybe up to 14-minute video. And then you're going to have some worksheets. And the worksheets on that one are, hey, how do you deal with stress? What would you do if somebody started to throw a fit or was upset? And sometimes I give you an example. Maybe she's upset with her mom. She's not maybe even upset with you or taking it out on you, but those two are fighting. What do you do in that situation? And so I give you those tools, and then you do some self-discovery, and you plan ahead of time. Okay, if this ever happens, this is what I'm going to do. This is where my boundaries are and how I think I should deal with it. And then the next video is going to be, okay, what do you do with bridal party Zillas? Sometimes a bridesmaid is upset. Why is she upset? I don't know. Maybe she's jealous because her wedding wasn't as nice, or maybe she's not married yet, or she wasn't asked to be the maid of honor. And so she's got all these emotions, and then she's upset. So then I'm going to walk you through scenarios of what possibly could happen. And then again, you have your worksheet that's going to say, okay, if that happens to me, this is what I'm going to do. And then we have Guestzilla. Okay, sometimes guests are, I've never in 30 years had a guest turn into somebody that's kind of irate or something like that. But sometimes they're just not happy with their food, or they're not, they're sitting in front of the air vent and it's blowing on them. So what do you do in situations like that? So the videos are short, but they're very, very precise, and I want to make sure that I get you the accurate information that's going to help you. So the homework is easy. Really, if you sat down for a half hour to an hour a week, you're totally going to be done with your work. So it's not too intense. And then, of course, the test at the end, like I said, that's just to make sure that you read the materials. Okay, is there a recorded webinar each week that helps cover the materials? So there's not, yes and no. So there are a lot of recorded webinars that we've had before that help cover the material. And it's maybe questions that people have asked in the webinar. But I'll tell you also, We do have those available to you, but they're not essential. You don't have to have those. If you watch the video, I am very thorough in the videos. So we probably will have very few questions. We actually did live webinars when we were testing the program out. We did a webinar every week. And I had asked people, please give me a bunch of feedback, give me questions. What am I not answering well enough? And we had a lot of people do it, and we had very few questions. And they kept saying that I don't have any questions because everything's so thorough. So we do have those, but they may not be necessary. Any more questions? People have more questions? How much? Oh, okay. So here's a question. How do you become a full service wedding planner? Full service wedding planner is something that normally, if you're a day of coordinator, I always say to start there. To be a full service wedding coordinator, you need to know a lot of information before you could jump into doing that. And it's not something you can just say, well, I helped with my sister's wedding and I helped with my cousin's wedding, now I think I can do it. Every client is so different, so unique, and I mean that in every sense of the word. You have different cultures, different religions, different budgets, different guest counts. So let's say somebody calls you up and they say, hey, I have a $50,000 budget, and you're like, wow, a $50,000 budget, this is going to be an amazing wedding, and it turns out they have 1,000 guests. That's not very much money for 1,000 guests. So and do they want a wedding outside? Do they want the ceremony outside or inside? And are they going to have it at a distance? And the different cultures, do you know how to do invitations? Do you know how much alcohol are they going to need? With that alcohol, how much ice will they need? And how many cups will they need? And this goes on and on with the food and the cake and the dessert and tablecloths and centerpieces and all of the rentals and the venue and maybe both venues, and then transportation and the DJ and a band and musicians. There's so much information that goes into being a full service wedding planner that I say it's always best that if you're a day of coordinator and you do that for maybe a couple years or a certain amount of weddings, now you've built a great base for, you've worked with 12 DJs and 12 caterers and, 10 different venues and all these different budgets and all these different cultures and different religions. And now that you have that experience, then it's easier to transition into a full service wedding planner. Any more questions? Anybody have some more questions? What does a wedding day look like? Okay, so a wedding day is going to look different for every day of coordinator depending on the client. So you may say in your service that you will help with setup. We do tell you in the day of coordinating certification program that I suggest that you don't offer to do setup in the beginning. We go into that in great detail because it's so easy to say, oh, sure, I'll set up the tables and the chairs or whatever because you're going to be there anyway. And you really don't understand the full amount of time that it's going to take to do that. And so you say you're going to do it, and it takes such a tremendous amount of time, and we give you exact examples in the course. But because of that, we say just start out just doing just the coordination. So maybe you can put on the party favors or something light like that, but you don't want to take on anything too intense. So when that's the case, you can show up at, let's say, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and you just make sure all the vendors are there. And then let's say the cake person, you have down that they're supposed to be there at 3 and it's 3:20, then you call the cake person and, hey, are you okay? I have down that you're coming at 3. Are you lost? Can I help you? Maybe they're driving around and you have to walk outside and stand on the corner and kind of flag them down so they know how to get to where they're supposed to be or something like that. And then you'll run the timeline. So the couple gives you the timeline, and what the timeline says is pictures start at 5, ceremony starts at 6, dinner is 6:30, grand entrance and the toast and the cake cutting and all this stuff. So all you do is you go to the DJ or the photographer or the venue coordinator, and you say, you know, hey, we want to do toasts in 20 minutes. Can you start pouring the champagne? Or you say to the DJ, I got the bridal party standing outside. If you want to get ready, we'll do the grand entrance. So that's really all you're supposed to do. And then normally when all of the events are over, then it's your time to go home. So that sounds pretty easy, right? So another question, do you offer full service wedding planning course? At this point, we don't offer that. And like I said, it's pretty intense, but once you become a certified Day of Coordinator member, then we will help you to develop those, I guess, help you develop your career into that. So we'll help you with, here's how you should be adding services, and here's how you could expand your information. Also, in the Day of certification course, you get a free month's membership to our couples planning course. So you'll gain a lot of information about how you could help people to plan their wedding. So if you were to become a Day of Coordinator and you wanted to move towards being a full service planner, I would say you really should have at least a minimum of 30 weddings under your belt before you do that. Another question just popped up. How much does a full service coordinator make versus a Day of Coordinator? So a full service coordinator can make on average anywhere from $3,500 $10,000. That's an average, could make less, could make more. And it sounds like a lot of money. So let's say you're a Day of Coordinator and you're like, well, I'd love to jump from $1,500 a wedding to $3,500 a wedding. If that's the case, I would say do 2 weddings on a weekend, and now you just made your $3,000. The reason I say that is because if you were to make $3,000 as a full service wedding planner, you're going to be putting in over 100 hours minimum. I spend a year with my clients, and they're texting me, emails, phone calls, in-office appointments, going to tastings, going to dress fittings, going to alteration appointments, going on venue visits, shopping for linens, shopping for flowers, doing their timeline, doing their invitations, filling out their invitation list, getting back their invitations, doing their RSVP, calling the people that didn't RSVP. It's so much more work. You really do make a lot less money per hour doing it that way. So if your goal is just to make more money, then I would just do 2 weddings. And really, I will be honest with you, doing 2 weddings, doing a wedding on a Friday and a Saturday is a lot less hours than doing full service. So let's say you did 8 hours on Friday and 8 hours on Saturday. That's 16 hours, which is not very many hours, because when I do a wedding, I'm there normally, well, I'm at our shop at 7 o'clock in the morning loading up the truck, and then we don't get home or back to the shop until gosh, maybe 2 or 3 in the morning. So I just worked a 20-hour day for the same price that you're working 18 hours, so, or 16 hours. So, but if it's something like you're thinking you just want to do it because you like it, then again, if you're a Day of Coordinator, then you can start adding services. So let's say you're really great at graphic design and you want to add invitations to it. Okay, so you're doing your Day of Coordination and you add invitations. So you just made a little bit more money doing that, plus it's something you love. Or maybe you like making party favors or the flowers, or, I mean, anything, the websites. You can incorporate passions that you have to offer services to your client that can give you a little bit more money. And then maybe every year or every 6 months, you can just add another service. So maybe you really enjoy invitations, so you start with that and you do that and you're comfortable maybe for 6 months or a year, and then the next year you add doing flowers, and then you do that for a year. Now you're doing invitations and flowers. Then maybe the next year you add another service. And so you can just keep building on these services that you offer that can help you to make more money as well. We're kind of running out of time here. We only have maybe about 15 minutes left. So if you guys have any questions, I want to make sure that I can get those answered for you. So we have a note here. Somebody was asking, how much does that mean you make an hour for Day of Coordinator? So I don't know how much money you make an hour now, but if you were to work 8 hours on a wedding day and you get paid $1,500, is that what the figure is? Okay, so if you were to work 8 hours and get paid $1,500, you're making $187.50 an hour. So I don't know if you're making that now. If you are, congratulations. If you're not, this is a really great way to make more money. Also, if you wanted to be a full service event coordinator and you're making $3,500 well, for $3,500, you're making less than $35 an hour. So day of coordinators make a ton more money. So we have a few questions coming through. Keep asking your questions. I think you guys got great questions. What if you don't pass the course? What if you don't? Okay, so again, it's not rocket science. If you were to listen to all the videos, there's no way you can't pass it, because this isn't a math question, or you don't have to do some computer program or something. It's just you're just answering questions so that we know that you actually listened to all of the videos. So what if you're not good at marketing and sales? A lot of people are not good at marketing and sales. So a lot of people get into the wedding business as a hobbyist, actually. So a lot of people get in because somebody says, wow, you're really great at taking photos. Maybe you should be a wedding photographer. You're really great at making cakes. Maybe you should do wedding cakes. We hear that a lot. I see that a lot. But they're not good at maybe, how do I market? How do I get my name out there? And how do I get business? And because of that big void, we have given a lot of materials, and if you will follow everything that we tell you step by step, you are sure to get more business than you can handle. When I started in the business, it was quite a while ago, and I didn't have much money. I was a single mom, and I didn't have money that I could just throw away or experiment with. I just didn't have it. So I had to be really creative in how I did marketing. And most of the marketing I did, I didn't spend any money on. And I'm going to show you how you can do that. And I'm going to take you through step by step. So there shouldn't be any problem with actually getting people to come to you. The problem could be that you might have to, the worst case scenario, you're going to have to work on your people skills. And, people have to know that they can trust you and feel comfortable with you. And if they feel like they can trust you and they're comfortable with you, then they're going to hire you. So that really shouldn't be a problem. I know if you're nervous about it, of course that makes sense. But we have programs that are going to help you with that. So I wouldn't even worry about that. Keep your questions coming if you guys have questions. Excuse me while I take a drink. What other courses do we offer? Well, Wedding State University, there's 3 separate sections of Wedding State University. We have it for couples, so couples that are planning their wedding. And then we have it for people who want to be a wedding coordinator. And then we have it for vendors. So in our vendor program, later on, if you guys wanted to move to the vendor program or take more in-depth study with that, we have a lot of workshops, seminars, and those are really geared towards mainly how to get business. So those we focus a lot on marketing. We focus a lot on branding. We focus a lot on ethical business practices and how to be transparent. We talk about what a lot of the issues are in the wedding industry and why there's so many stereotypes and how that can affect them and how to overcome those. So we have a lot of support. I don't recommend you doing both right now. It's a lot. So everything that we like to do, I like everybody to do it step by step. I like them to really grasp a concept and make it their own and believe what they're doing in one section before they move on to another. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. You can make a lot of money and you can make a lot of money quickly, but this isn't something that I want you to be thinking, I'm going to get into this and I'm going to make a whole bunch of money and get out. I would love it if you thought, this is something that I can make a lot of money with, I can make it quickly, and I'm going to do a great job and the best job for a client that I can. And you get to know yourself, and you get very well grounded in your business, and then you move on to another section. So when you ask what other services do we have every kind of support service that you can think of for anyone in the wedding business or that is going to be involved in planning a wedding.